Good afternoon, everybody out there. This is Arjax coming at you with a new tanking guide. I was actually very happy with this group. The Hunter really helps out a lot with DPS, and you know, I'm used to pulling on my Monk where I can do massive pulls, and in this dungeon you definitely want to do massive pulls because all you're doing with the ads is slowing down your group, and there's really no reason not to do massive pulls. The Hunter goes ahead and aggro stuff out ahead of me, which I really appreciated because it definitely sped up the dungeon quite a bit. So I was, you know, in this case, DPS aggroing, I was actually very thankful about it because it definitely helped out with the group in the dungeon. And as a warrior at this level, I'm definitely very slow at pulling. I only have 2 AoEs. Everybody seems to run faster than me in the dungeon. I actually lag behind the group a little bit after a pull. So it is definitely something that I am very thankful for on this rare occasion of DPS actually pulling. So with that being said, I have to give a shout out to the DPS in this group. They did a really great job. The healer does a really great job too. I actually ran with the healer in this exact same dungeon on my Monk prior to recording this, so I was able to, you know, get a very good handle of his ability with my Monk. And one thing I really did notice in this dungeon with running it right after I ran it on my Monk with the warrior is that my warrior takes a lot more damage. And I don't mean he takes more damage, I mean he ignores a lot more damage. And he's definitely a lot easier for the healer to heal than my Monk. And my Monk's like 4 levels higher than my warrior at this point, so, or one of my Monks rather. So it was definitely kind of a shock to see, you know, my health stay pretty much consistently full, whereas with my Monk I was watching it dip down to 50% with the exact same healer. So that is definitely something to note, is that if you're running with a Monk, you know, even though you can do the bigger, faster pulls with them, it might not be in the group's best interest or the healer's best interest if it's a new healer or, you know, an inexperienced healer or not used to not healing a plate class tank. So that is definitely something worth noting, is that if you're going to be rolling a Monk as a tank, you definitely need to take your time and make sure that you're not over pulling with the group, because it's very easy to do with a Monk. You can pull pretty much this entire room, you know, and what's that going to do for you? That's going to make it go faster, but if you wipe, it's not going to go faster. So, oh, and something else to note here is that these guys run away, and so, you know, here's a big mob of guys coming at me, and you know, the first couple times I was running this as a tank, I wasn't aware that they were running to go get reinforcements. And I'm like, OMG, DPS, WTF, what are you doing? Why are you pulling all this stuff? Oh, we're dying. Because I wasn't running in heirlooms and we were dying all the time. And they're like, OMG, you're a noob. We're not pulling anything. It's because they got away. And so that's something to be aware of, is that, you know, sometimes DPS does pull, but more often than not, they're not pulling in this dungeon, and it's just guys running away and pulling extra guys. Not really an issue, as you can see here for us. We're just kind of steamrolling through this. So, yep. Alright, so on this next boss pull, the one thing that's kind of annoying about this boss is that the boss is a caster. And so the casters, you know, normally on my Monk, I kind of pull this whole room around the corner so that we're not backed up against the wall. But, you know, as a warrior, it's kind of slow. So what I'm going to do is use my Blood Elf ability to silence him so that he aggroes off from me, or aggroes, well, he's going to already be aggroed on me, but he will pull out against the wall, as you can see there. So I can pull him around, turn him backwards towards the group. So, which, you know, it makes it a lot more convenient to pull him away. I don't know, just for me, because if I'm backed up against the wall, it's kind of hard to see what's going on because, you know, you're zoomed right in and plus not a very good angle for recording either. So this boss, pretty much straight DPS down. Actually, all the bosses in this dungeon are straight DPS down. So it definitely helps, you know, to have great DPS. Like I said, the Hunter's doing a great job. He's out ahead of me, which is rare to see in these early dungeons because, you know, the tanks just typically do a lot more damage. You will see it every now and then, somebody doing more DPS than you, but it is definitely abnormal and not the norm. So, you know, back before I was in Heirlooms, I would definitely pull the ads without pulling the boss here. Definitely not such a big deal with the Heirlooms and the great healing and DPS that we're doing here. But if you're not running Heirlooms, you know, you might have to take it a bit slower than I'm taking it here. And I'm definitely not taking it slow whatsoever. These guys are very simple for our group, so I'm just kind of power rushing through this. Plus, you know, if I take it really slow, then this video is going to be 30 minutes long and nobody's going to watch it anyways. Nobody watches 30-minute long videos. So, as it is, this is going to be about 20 minutes, which is a bit on the long side. So, there's a chest back here, and every now and again, these will be unlocked. However, the two that I try to open in this dungeon are both locked. So, you know, all that's going to happen in it is it's going to be like a green, maybe some cloth. But I'm definitely not in a position to complain about green drops. Especially not on this server. I think combined between all the alts that I have on Horde on this server, I have like 6,000 gold, which is not a lot. And it's definitely a little bit less than I would like, you know, because I want to get Master Flight on all my tunes, and for some reason, you know, I just can't sell enough stuff on this server in order to get enough gold, or not, you know, it's not a high pop server. On Moonguard, I just started a tune there, and it's like level 33, and I already have like 9,000 gold on the tune just by selling random dungeon drops, which is ridiculous if you think about the amount of gold that I've got on this server with 5 tunes, all of them being higher than level 30. So definitely, you know, you definitely see the price inflation on higher level servers. Something that would be nice, just me talking though, you know, it's not really anything other than an opinion. I think it would be pretty cool, personally, to see an entire World of Warcraft auction house. You know, I know that there would be some downsides to that, but, you know, you're looking for some sort of rare pet or crafting material or something on the auction house, and you're going to be able to find it if they made auction houses completely the same as something else. And while we're talking about stuff that I think would be pretty cool, something that I think would be pretty cool is if you could just log any tune onto any server, and, you know, your tunes were stored in a centralized database, and all the WoW servers were just like, you know, the old school RuneScape where they had like 50 servers and you could pop onto one. Yeah, I think it would be super awesome if you could just have all your tunes there, they could all interact with each other, and you could just pop on different servers. And it would be treated like a server rather than your tunes home. Would that kind of suck? I could see a definite technological downside to it, and, you know, WoW having to do a whole bunch of extra stuff to make it work. However, I think it would be pretty sweet. So, the druid over there, I forgot about him, basically, and so I'm AoEing down everybody else, and we're getting grabbed up by these earth grab totems, so I go ahead and kill that one there, and then I'm going to pop over here and redrain aggro, and then kill that earth grab totem so that we're not, you know, being grabbed and slowed down. I actually, you know, I just kind of made a boo-boo there. I wasn't really paying attention to the AoE or the casters, so obviously didn't get a good pull on them. So that's something that you need to be aware of in this dungeon. There's a lot of casters, and if you're not careful, you'll do just what I did right there and not be having everybody grouped up in a big, nice AoE circle. So coming up here is the bat room, and this is one of the places where I made a mistake as a tank, and you know, nobody died, and you know, it's not that big of a deal. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull pretty much half the room of bats, and which isn't bad, and I can definitely do it, and especially with the healer that I have. But what's going to happen is I'm going to get out of line of sight of our healer, and so you're going to see my health dip down for pretty much one of the first times in this dungeon, and I almost die. And it's completely my fault because I just ignored the line of sight, and I was aware of it while I was doing it. I just didn't expect to take that much damage. But I probably should have been aware of it because I think I'm level 32, maybe 30, 31, 32 in that range. I started it at level 30, but I've leveled once or twice in this, and so all these bats are level 34, and you can see right here, I'm just going to take an immense amount of damage, and I'm out of line of sight of the healer until right there, and I just had a sliver of life left. Definitely my fault, not the healer's fault. I have a monk healer, and you know, they're very mobile and good healers, but you know, if you're going to run behind a wall where there's a bunch of guys with a bunch of ads on you, you're going to take a bunch of damage, and if you die, absolutely not the healer's fault, your fault for getting out of their line of sight. And you know, that's just something that you need to always be aware of as a tank, is the line of sight of your healer, because if you're not, you're going to die and cause the party to wipe. Even if it was a manageable pull, you know, there is a reason why there are tanks, and you know, just because the healer can heal you and keep you up does not mean he can heal and keep up 4 other DPS while he's pulling aggro from heals. So you definitely want to stay aware of his LOS so that, you know, you don't die and cause the group to wipe. So this guy here, this boss room in the last group of ads that we just killed, is something you can absolutely skip if nobody's on the quest. It's going to give you, you know, everybody's dropping about 200 EXP. There was 5 guys out there, so that's 1,000. And the boss is going to drop another 1,000, so that's 2,000 EXP, which is about 1/16 of a level. So, you know, it's definitely, you know, the 2,000 EXP definitely helps, and especially if you have rested EXP, that'd be 4,000 EXP that you pulled there. I think it's worth doing that room, even if you're not on the quest. Something else that, you know, I like to do is if I'm thinking about skipping something because I'm on a little bit of a time constraint, I definitely like to ask the group, hey, are you guys on the quest? Because you definitely don't want to skip quest items for DPS or healers, because, you know, you may not need them, but this, you know, you're going to probably run this dungeon 2 or 3 times before you level past it. It's definitely something that you want to be aware of for them, because, you know, they have 20-minute queues. They'll probably out-level the dungeon before running it a second time, so you definitely want to get them their quests, you know, and it's the courteous thing to do. Like I've said in other videos, when as a tank, I try to be aware of quest items, and if there's a dungeon, not this dungeon, but if there's other dungeons that I'm running and quest items are a little bit scarce and it's not going to be enough for 5 people to grab, and obviously 5 people are going for them, I'll back off till everybody in the room has it, because I know I'm going to run the dungeon again. I'll probably, you know, queue for that dungeon right after finishing it, just so that I can get the quest and don't accidentally abandon it or just miss it entirely. So that's something I always like to do as a tank. I definitely like to make sure that everybody has the quest items. So this guy right here, you have to complete the quest to grab the next quest. The first time I ran this, the tank didn't stop and wait, so I'm stopping and waiting here, seeing if anybody's interacting with him. I was running it as a DPS, So, you know, the tank just, you know, tanks are kind of always in a hurry, it seems, to pull guys and pull the boss, because, you know, you don't want to be like, hurry up, tank. I definitely fall into that trap myself. But that was, you know, that was one thing. You know, I got the quest, and I didn't get the quest until after we killed him. Then the heart wasn't there for me to loot. Really sucked, you know, as a DPS. I just ended up abandoning it because I over-leveled the dungeon by the time it queued again for me. So this group was really awesome. I didn't even have to ask to do the escort. So, and everybody just starts running to go do the escort part. I was kind of a little bit worried that I wouldn't be able to get the escort part of the dungeon in here. And obviously, you know, it might not be the fastest thing. It's an extra 3,000 to 4,000 EXP, which is about a fourth of a level at this level. No, not quite that much. About an eighth of a level, which is like, you know, a good 12% of a level just doing that quest. So, you know, I like to run all the quests in the dungeons at least once. This might not be something that I would necessarily be willing to do for somebody else, but if somebody else is like, hey, can we run the escort quest? I'm most likely going to say yes. You get fairly good EXP from the ads here. You know, they're dropping about 200 EXP per one, and I'm not even rested. I run a dungeon on each of my tombs that you've seen leveling up a day, and it turns out you need about 188 dungeons to level up from level 15 to 90. I would say from 1 to 90, but you can't run dungeons at level 1. It'd be really sweet if you could, because you'd have all these awesome jabs that you're doing, or, you know, auto attacks until you leveled up to level 2. I think that'd be actually something pretty cool that Blizzard could implement into the dungeons. You know, just like create level 1 through 15 dungeon. And it's just, I don't even know what you'd have in it. It would just be awesome. I think it'd be awesome anyways. But, yeah, so the one thing that's kind of annoying about this guy is I never know where he's at. So I just flagged him up so that I can look back and see him. Now, you don't see it happen on this run. The first time I did this quest sort of thing, we were going through here, a bunch of people left, they, you know, and I was on a paladin, and so I self-healed. Well, for some reason, he died, you know. We were taking everything up through here just like I'm doing here, but he falls way behind, as you can see, and he ends up dying. So something I like to do is, you know, it kind of slows everything down a little bit, but I like to, you know, look and make sure he's not way far behind us. Something that helps with that is string pulling, because he runs towards the action, but then he runs backwards towards where his last point of non-combat was, I think. So, you know, if you string pull, you're definitely going to keep him pulling along, and then he's going to run back less distance. But, you know, as long as I can see him, I feel good about it. There isn't some sort of mysterious ads popping up and killing him, because it really sucks when you have to run all the way back to the beginning and then just wait for his slow run all the way through. But, you know, paying attention to that is definitely key. So that's what I like to do. You know, you run ahead a little bit, turn around, look behind you, make sure that he isn't falling behind, and just go straight through. So this is, I think this is probably one of the more time-consuming quests of the dungeon. You know, obviously you don't have to do this quest, so it definitely feels longer to me. And, you know, it's like, you know, it's actually about the length of the dungeon, time-wise, to do this follow-on quest. So, not very time-efficient, to say the least. But, you know, it gives you pretty decent EXP, so, yeah, why not? And as you can see there, I just leveled twice in this dungeon. So yeah. So we're gonna run up here. This little guy's going to come up, and then there's a little path to the top which is going to lead you up into your other quest turn-ins. So, with that being said, you know, you're pretty much at the end. Now, the one downside that I noticed, not on this run, but on other runs with flagging him, is when you get up here and he's turning in his quests, you know, you don't see the little question mark above him. So if you're running with somebody who's new and this is their first time through, you might want to pop out a whisper saying, hey, there's the quest guy is right there, or, you know, maybe just turn off the flag at this point. But the question mark's not going to appear above them. This is the last group of ads of the dungeon. You DPS them down, and you've just completed this dungeon. If you like this video, please like, comment below, and subscribe. And as always, Arjax out. Have a great day.